Okay, so today we continue with our laws of Shabbos. Today is class number 53. Okay, and we continue with our laws of with our book Hofetz Chaim, and today's subject is the habitual sinner. Okay, and it says, in the case of habitual sinner who ignores a particular commandment altogether, one is to assume that even a questionable act is in fact a transgression of the commandment. Judge your fellow favorably, demand fairness, not naivety. So what does it mean? So if you know that somebody ignores a commandment, for example, he shaves with a razor, right? There is a commandment not to do, and that's what he does. So basically, any commandment, he says on Shabbos, I'm going to only drive, or I'm only going to drive to shul. Like all of this, like small thing, not small. Well, one of the big things, or this guy that I know, his wife does not go to mikveh, and he says she's not on the level. She's not. She needs time. It's 5 times later. He has already 3 kids. She still needs time. Okay, so a person like this, basically, right? So it says here. So even if he does some minor sin, other things, so we said that it was intentional, because he proved that that's what it is. Okay.
Rabbi,
yes.
What's the good point of, for example, judging someone favorably is very close to not bearing a grudge against someone, right? So my question is like this.
No. There is a big difference. Bearing grudge when he, or not bearing grudge, when he did something to you personally. But if his wife does not go to mikvah, or he shaves with a razor, how does it affect me?
I agree with you. But let's say a Jew keeps Shabbos, so on and so forth. We talked about these Jews, what's it called? We see them davening, super speed, so on and so forth, right? So, someone keeps Shabbos, part of Am Yisrael, so on and so forth. What good does it do? Let's say, even if it's true, that we have to think right away, this thing that he's doing an Avera. Because we're supposed to think of him, we're supposed to love someone from Am Yisrael, so on and so forth. But also, this makes it very, very hard, and you don't want to like him on the other hand. You understand? So how do you deal with the two things?
Okay, so meaning. Okay, Shalom Aleichem. Welcome. So could you repeat the question? So, or also here.
Questions like this.
Just summarize. Yeah, go ahead.
If a Jew keeps Shabbos, we're supposed to be very, nice to him. We're supposed to like him, so on and so forth, right? The thing is, over here, we see that, let's say he does an Avera 5, 6, 7 times, whatever amount of times he does, often, right? First time we judge him favorably. But later on, you can't judge him favorably anymore, as we just learned, right?
Yeah.
So now you see, okay, this person shaves with the razor. He does this, he does that. He does every Avera except the ones which make him considered a guy. So how am I still supposed to like him at the same time as, as this?
Okay. All right. So I'm going to repeat this point quickly for the or, so he will be on up to date. So basically, we read in Sefer Hafetz Chaim. So author said, if a person does let me read quickly. In the case of habitual sinner who ignores a particular commandment altogether, wants to assume that even the questionable act is in fact his transgression of the commandment. Judge your fellows favorably, demands fairness, not naivety. Okay, so it means here that even example that David just gave, so somebody is shaving with a razor, or he does one sin, so basically he disregards. Doesn't matter how big or small the sin is, or he said, I'm going to check for sharpness later. It's not that important, right? He delays, and you ask him, look, I told you. You see on your thing it says go check. So, no, I'll do it. Don't worry, I'll do it. So a guy like this who does one sin, constantly. So we suspect that if we see him doing some questionable thing, and before that we said we have to give him benefit of the doubt. In this case, we don't give him the benefit of the doubt. Why? Because like simple explanation is when he disregards one thing, he can disregard the other one. I mean, the Torah is not complete for him. It's not wholesome, right? There's part that he can do, and the part that based on his understanding, he can just throw out, basically, right? So David's question is, how can you love such a person? Are you obligated to love? Okay, so the way I see it, right? So for me, it's also gray area. So what is a gray area? I mean, meaning I'm not going to love him, and I'm not going to hate him. Basically, I have pity on him, right? That this guy cannot. Even like, let's say I told him, and he cannot overcome himself. He wants to be like clean shaved, like a baby face. You know that which is very hard to do with these electric shavers. I think, right? So that's the problem. That's he has his desire, like for you, for other people, it's laughable. That's all. You say I wish that's the only my sin. That would be the only thing that I cannot overcome. This for you it's funny. For me it's funny, but for him it's like mission impossible. So we have to feel bad for him and try to help him. But hate, this hate is not going to help you or him. You understand? So when you hate somebody, most likely you would speak Lashon Hora and damage yourself, right? Or damage him. But it's not solution to the issue. Solution to the issue is bring him back and make him Shomer Shabbos and Shomer Mitzvahs. That's our goal.
So a question like this, because Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said that we should care about people's we should care about people physically and
Hi everybody, sorry I disconnected.
No problem. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is like this, because obviously Kiruv, so on and so forth. So what ratio do we care about people physically, give them food, give them tzedakah when they need? And what ratio do we care about them spiritually? Because sometimes people think you're too much on me, but they're never going to say that in regards to food and tzedakah and so on and so forth, you see? So what's the ratio, how much you do each?
Okay, so it says, if in Turkey always says, if there is no flour, there is no Torah. If not, you understand? So first, if somebody is struggling, if he does not have a job, right, or he cannot provide for his family, he has kids that are hungry, and you start telling him, let's say he's not religious, right, or he's semi-religious, whatever, and you started telling him about sharpness, he's not going to listen to you. So first, you try to feed him, try to find him a job, and then take care of the spirituality. You understand? Otherwise, it's not going to work. So some people who are religious and they follow, they observe and stuff like that. So they need only food. Or your Torah is very good. But they need food. They need to eat. You understand? So it depends on a person. So many people have food, like physical food, but spiritual they're starving. They're very away. So to these people, you need to. So it depends on the person. I'll give you an example. It's actually related to this parasha Noach, right? So Noach was Chacham, right? So he knew what animal to feed with what and what period of time. So some animal hunting animal that eat only at night, some during the day, some during morning hours, evening hours, whatever. So he needed to know which food to give and when to each animal. So the right? Separation. So same with Jews. So they all Jews need different food. So you need to know how to help a person. If you do not know, you can do as well damage.
I'll give you a great example of some kids when I went to camp. So basically, they'd sleep an hour into Shabbat, so on and so forth, right? But they would study. So what am I supposed to do with those kids? Am I supposed to give them mussar, or am I supposed to say, oh, maybe one coffee?
One second. they would study late and then oversleep for shachris?
They won't even study late. They'd go play basketball or something, then wake up late for
Okay,
Shabbat. They'd study at the Zman, but these types of kids. So, should I be nice to say, oh, maybe you need some more sleep, coffee, you want some coffee? Or should I, get him out of bed? What's,
I mean, you try to help him, but if a person does not want to be helped, right? So you can offer him coffee, you can bring him coffee into his bed. He's not going to wake up. You understand? So there's no one size fits all. There are different scenarios. It depends where the person is. So people do different things because they desires. You have to identify what the issue is. What exactly holding him back? So you think there is any Jew in the world that does not want to get up, like, I don't know, come 30 minutes before they start services and pray, like, and pray in home, 30 minutes, do slowly and stuff like that, put tefillin very slowly with kavanah, read all of the text that comes with tefillin before putting, after putting, when you wrap around the finger, like all of this is siddur. Like, it takes 5 minutes, 7 minutes just to put tefillin. Just read the text. You understand? So I don't think that there is anybody who would not want to do it, but because of the desires, because of the other things, because advice of Eitzachara, stay up late, and then the guy cannot wake up for Shachar. So of course he cannot physically. So you have to be smarter. Okay, let's try to continue. So the author said, don't be stupid, don't be naive. Okay, you have to give benefit of the doubt, but if you know that he's a sinner and he's not trying to hide that he's a sinner, so okay, don't be naive, right? Continue. Having concluded that the person did transgress, one must seek to understand why. Okay, exactly why he frequently commits this sin. Okay, maybe he wants to shave his razor. He wants to be popular with girls, right? I don't know. It may be that it may be due to the ignorance. He may be totally unaware that the act is forbidden, or he might be, or he might not realize the severity of the prohibition. So there are many people that I approach and I ask him, like, you see when somebody shaves his razor, there are cuts, right? Cuts like from a razor. I don't think with a shaver, with an electric shaver, you can get something. So I would come, and the person that goes to synagogue for 5, 6, 7 years, and this clown rabbi never told him. No, nobody told him. Like, they even appoint him a gabbai because he can read a little Hebrew. You understand? So these gabbais shaves with a razor. Said, no, I don't know, maybe this, maybe that. I said, how about I'm going to find a sponsor for you. How about that? We're going to buy you a razor. So, okay, I'm going to think about it. So, okay, so he actually agreed. And I said to get a razor. And another guy got himself a razor, like a shaver, not razor, shaver. And I said, but nobody told them. I mean, how does he know? Nobody told him. Okay, so it's our job. Just ask a person, like nicely, politely. They know that there's a prohibition to shave his razor. Okay.
Right, let's say you go to one of these, what's it called? Not from shuls, long story short, where 10 people, the other 90 people don't keep Shabbos. So
okay.
do I have a heave to tell every single one of them,
No. If you see, first you have to establish relationship. That you are even in a position to talk like these things. Mm-hmm. Just because you finish davening, you're wrapping up tefillin, and by the way, like, and you turn to the left and start talking to the person. Like, it's like he would reject whatever you say. So first you have to prove to that person by whatever means you can, that you care about him.
I hear. Okay.
And it has to be genuine. Like, if you do not care, better not to do, because it would create more damage. Okay. So continue. Should this be the case, one must find some way to enlighten the person without hurting his feelings. Okay, as we said, nicely. I mean, I'm like, like a doctor, right? When you come to a doctor, so in your mind, he's your best friend. He's better than your mother, basically, which is not. Okay, which is not. But we tend to trust the doctor that he has our best interests in mind, and whatever he says, most likely that people will do, unless some crazy people, they don't do whatever because they're crazy, basically, right? But otherwise, like you trust this doctor, so you have to establish such a trusting relationships that you show that you care about the person. So it's not like you're trying to tell him that he's wrong, that I'm right, I'm so knowledgeable, and I will look at you like 6 years, you come into the shul and you never ever open the book. Okay, don't. If you start like that, nobody's going to listen to it. So, but I asked nicely, and both of them got shavers, and even the one who said, yeah. I said, when I say I have a sponsor for you, sponsor was me. I was about to buy it, but we went to the store and he bought it himself. He paid. He said, no, I will leave it. I have a job. I have this. I'm going to buy. Okay, pay. Even better. You understand? So continue. Discussing his behavior with others constitutes speaking Lashon Hara, because this thing is not going to help him, this guy, right? This situation is common among those who were raised in the community. There were widespread violation of this certain laws, exactly as we said in this show, right? It must be, in such an instance, people mistakenly view those who observe this law as machmirim, individuals who are stringent beyond the letter of the law. So basically, in the show that you said, when mostly they not observant, right? Not observant. So for them, somebody like you said, he's down. He comes with a jacket. So they say maybe he's colder. Right? It's not that it's proper. Pray with a extra garment. No, because he's cold. He's cold. No, it's 90 degrees outside. What is it cold? He's not cold. You understand? Or he comes early and then leaves late. Like try to say every word. Or he say hey Shmei Rabba very loud. And maybe they say maybe he's obnoxious. Why does he have to speak so loud? And some people, because they see other people like them behave in a certain way, and after sometimes in their mind that's the standard, So that's it. So we have to take it into consideration. Right. So we start here. So I can give you one example. But it's only example. Don't ask me for details. Don't ask me for details. You agree? Okay, don't ask me for details. Just take example as a simple value, because a few times I told you guys when David asked me the question, so I said I don't have anything at that moment. I don't have example. So now, B'ezrat Hashem, B'siyata Deshmai, I came over the example when about leniency. When rabbis gave one leniency and they say second leniency, stop it. That's too much. All right. So here's the leniency. Don't ask me any questions. We're not going to learn this topic, but just listen to the example. So it says that when you wash your hands for bread, you have to use a vessel, and it has to be a kosher vessel without holes. And they say, what is a hole? I'm not going to describe what is a hole, whatever, without holes or smaller. Okay. But they say that you can dip your hands into a river or a stream. Okay, big stream, big enough, so you can dip your hands or into well, right, or into river that connected to the earth. Okay. So and they say, for example, somebody have a duck, like duck, something like a pipe, right? Duck, and for irrigating the field, and he pours water into this duck. So they say if you're somewhere in the middle of the duck, even you dip in the water, your hands into the duck, so it didn't do anything. It's like a standing water. It was not put there by human power. That's it. Okay. So, but But they say, but if you go next to the bucket, so the guy comes from a river with a bucket, put this bucket, put the water into the duck, and the water flows. Okay, so they say, but if water flows by itself into the duck, so that's good. So basically, rainwater is good. Rainwater is good for mikveh. So all of the mikvahs using the rainwater, that's good. The water has to come there naturally, meaning like a spring, like a river, like a well. The water came there naturally. So our water came from the river. He pours it. So, but in order to make it natural, so Rabbi said, here's the thing. So if you would pour it like 3 tefachim, like this much, right, from this duck, and water would flow into the duck. So let's say we say, okay, there is opinion that it got there naturally, and you can dip your water in there. But this one second, let me finish this example. So this water in a duck should be like size of the mikveh. The mikveh for a person to dip. Otherwise, he cannot. So okay, so let's break it apart. So they say if you pour 3 tefachim apart, there is some rabbis say that's enough to consider the water got into the duck by itself, and you can dip the water. Okay, but they say if amount is less than the mikveh size, which is 47, which is like a bath, like it's enough to cover your body while you're laying down, basically, like this amount, right? So that's not kosher. They say why it's not kosher? Because we already give you one leniency. Do 3 tefachim away from the duck. That's it. Stop it. So if you want even less than the mikveh, that's too much. I hope it's a good example. I hope I didn't. Don't ask me any more questions, but this is example. So one leniency they give, and these people push for a second leniency. I said second leniency we're not going to accept. Okay, Israel, yeah, go ahead.
Can you do it in the sink?
No.
Oh, wait, Rabbi, small question. Not about this, but what's it called? Let's say I wash my hands 3 times because of the rochra, right, in the morning. Okay, times right, 3 times left, so on and so forth. My question is, but let's say I didn't say the bracha and I go to the shul. I only have to wash right and left. That's all, right? I only have to wash once.
No, if you did not say bracha, you can say bracha. Bracha is usually say in the morning after you when you're ready to pray.
Okay, so I can just say the bracha. I don't have to wash my hands immediately.
No.
Why is it different for after before eating bread?
No, okay, because when we just laying in the bed, so it says you're like your mouth is full of saliva and like all of the bad breaths, right? No, not you, but everyone, right? When we just wake up, so you and plus you want to go to the restroom. Most of the normal people, when they wake up, they want to go to the restroom. So it would be, as we said before, abomination. And then he's not dressed, and then he's not this, and that he's not that. So even in Kitzur it says say after, but later on he says, and Mishnah Berurah confirms, we do it like it says in our Siddur when you come to the shul, or you do. I do it at home before I go to shul. That's it. It's a part of your prayers. That's it. So I mean, if you touch, for example, your shoes, you tied your shoelaces. Let's say, right? Let's say, so you have to wash your hands, but it has to do with the shoelace, with touching shoes, not with Nitlas Yadayim itself.
Rabbi.
Yes.
Does a mikveh have to be monitored daily, or is like monthly or something like that?
It's a good question. I'm not sure how often. I mean, we assume that it is kosher unless proven otherwise. So maybe monthly, maybe like once in 2 months. So basically, the thing is with mikveh. So I don't want to see. I ask you not to go to the mikveh stuff. So mikveh, it's so it has to be pulled right of water from the faucet and connected to the different pool through like a pipe. Water that came from rain, basically. But I wanted for you to understand that my example. So rabbis gave you one leniency, and now you're pushing for second leniency on top of the first. That's too much. That's what we reject. So, but one leniency, okay, you want in this stressful situation, and that's it. Okay, let's continue. About Mikvah B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to get in a kitzur. I'm not sure when, maybe in a year from now, because it's like closer to the end. Okay, so let's see. So we continue with our laws of Shabbos, and the subject is gathering. Okay. So it's chapter number. What is it? It's a page. If somebody's following, 288. Okay, 288, and chapter was at 28. Gathering. Okay. Number 1, Av Milachim. Me'amer, gathering, is the one of the 39 Avos Milachas prohibited on Shabbos. Gathering was necessary for construction of Beis HaMikdash, or Mishkan, Mishkan, where the plants from which the dice were made were gathered together in one place after they were harvested. So basically, we have to understand. So before that, we were learning reaping. So first you reap, like cut from the place where it grows, and the way I understand, when you cut, you just leave there, and then somebody else would come and just gather all together, bring it to one place. Okay, so this gathering, so meaning it's something that's scattered around and you gather. So even it was already reaped, you're not allowed to gather in one place. Very interesting. Number 2, definition. The melacha of me'amer, gathering, is to gather together in one place scattered grains, fruits, vegetables, etc. This is done to protect the harvested produce from being stepped on or blown away by the wind. Okay, we're going to explain what does it mean. Since the purpose of the melacha is to protect the produce, the following activities are included in this melacha: making piles, bundles, or harvested produce, placing harvested produce into containers or boxes, or stringing them together as we speak. Gathering that is done for the purpose other than to protect and gather the gathered items is not subject to this melacha. So basically, okay, so let's try to understand the definition. So they say something that was detached, right? Looks like, so far we like all the examples they gave food articles, right? Only food items, and the reason why we want to gather so to protect them, like so nobody was stepped, animal maybe might eat and stuff like that, right? So protect and put them where? In the bundles, maybe in boxes, in piles, like covered with something. So that would be prohibited. Okay, continue. Number 3, condition required for the melacha to apply. Even when the gathering is done to protect the gathered items, one does not transgress the Torah prohibition of gathering except in the following circumstances. Number 1, the items grow from the ground. The biblical melacha me'amer, gathering, applies only to the things that grow from the earth. So that's a big, that's a good thing, meaning many other things are excluded. Things that do not grow from the earth are not included in melacha on the biblical level, though they are sometimes forbidden rabbinically. See section 7. So we're going to see, for example, so here's example that I have, right? You have a box of cereal and sometimes like it overturned and now it's all around. Are you allowed to gather it together? Good question. You understand? So one more time, the biblical level only apply to things that grow from the earth. So meaning would not apply to eggs, right? So the guy have eggs and they start rolling from his plate. I don't know what happens. So or pieces of chicken, right? Chicken fell and it was like chicken nuggets or like some pieces of chicken, like chicken squares, like cubes, and it was scattered all around. Are you allowed to gather them, basically? Okay, that's a biblical level, and something that does not grow from the ground, sometimes we're going to see forbidden on rabbinical level. Okay, I mean, as we said before, I just maybe I remind very often, but we must remember when it says rabbinical, it does not mean that it's allowed. It's still forbidden. It's same prohibition. Okay, the punishment is different, but maybe even more severe when he does rabbinical prohibition. Okay. So number 2, the items that gathered in their place of growth. Okay, so in order to get a death penalty, right? So he has to gather together for protection, right? These things that grow from the ground and in a place where they grow. Okay, so that's okay. The biblical melacha of me'amer gathering generally applies only to the plants gathered in their place of growth. For example, wheat in a field, fruits and vegetables in an orchard or in gardens. Okay. An exception from to this rule: things that are generally gathered together away from their place of growth I include in melacha in gathering. For example, I include, right? Even it's away from the place of growth. So it's not that these apples are not in the orchard, they in my house, right inside. I included in melacha of gathering. For example, dried figs that are generally brought in from the outside to be strung together indoors. Since the process of stringing is customarily done indoors, bringing the dry figs into the house to be strung is a melacha of gathering. So that's like when you buy figs from the store, they usually like pressed, right? That's how they preserve them. They like put it like on a string, right, and press them together. So since it's done at home, not like apples usually put in some boxes or right, like in the orchard itself, but figs are usually gathered in home, so that would be like exception. Okay, number 4, fundamental rules of the melacha. Number 1, number of items needed to transgress a melacha. The prohibition, the Torah prohibition of me'amer gathering applies even to gathering together just 2 items. So the minimum, so as we saw in all of the other previous melachas, so we always learn what is the minimum requirement for transgression. So here even 2. Okay. Number 2, items to which the melacha applies. The melacha of me'amer applies to the things that grow from the earth, whether they are food items, for example, food or vegetables, or non-food items like leaves, twigs, etc. So for example, you're outside and you wanna sweep, right now we have a lot of leaves, right? You have big trees and you want to sweep from your stairs because the leaves are wet and you're afraid that somebody is going to sleep standing on the leaf. So I mean, it's a different story if it's a life danger, but basically that does not have to be food items, but items that things that grow from the ground. Okay, go ahead.
This question, I know we just read it grows from the earth, but for some reason it feels like this might be a case. Does it also apply to snow maybe?
No, snow does not grow from the earth.
I agree with you, but it goes down to the earth, and earth is its natural habitat, we'll say it that way.
No. Snow is a different issue. Is a snow. Mm-hmm. The issue is a snow. Maybe it would be in the end of the book, I guess, because it's an issue of no lot. No lot are the things that came into existence on Shabbos. So one second example to the snow, like it would be chicken eggs, right? So the egg did not exist on Friday night. Okay, well, let's say you want to you have a chicken coop. You check there is no eggs, and then on Shabbos, even let's say you check the chicken coop at 12 noon, right? And then on Shabbos you see an egg. So you cannot touch an egg. So maybe because it came to exist on Shabbos, so it's because it's a new creation, you're not allowed to use. So, but snow, the leniency with the snow, because it might prevent might create danger, like hazard for people who walk on the sidewalk. So they would allow. But basically, I never shoveled this snow on Shabbos. Right, all neighbors would do. I would not. No, not all neighbors. Some would. Like I do later. Anyway, winter a shorter day, so I'm going to be like shovel at 5 p.m. like after the shower song. So not a big deal, basically. All right. So continue. Regathering previously gathered fruit that becomes scattered. So okay. So let's see. So basically, the example of this would be, for example, you have a bucket, right? And you picked apples and you put them in a bucket, and then somebody bumped into the bucket and it overturned, and all of the apples like scattered around. So the question is, can I put them back in the bucket or not? So since they were there already before Shabbos, so is it a problem or not? So regathering. Okay, that's what I think this would be example. But let's see. The poskim disagree whether it is prohibited to regather items that were once gathered and then scatter in a place of the growth. So probably this. Okay, for example, fruit that was gathered in a basket and was tipped over in a place of the growth. Right, these apples. Okay, the basket. Okay, basket. And now they scattered again. Right? Some authorities rule that the prohibition does not apply, while other rules that it does apply. We follow the stringent view. So in all of the cases that we discussed, since it might be violation of biblical prohibition, we try to follow stringent view. Okay, just to be on a safe side and sit with Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay. In Gan Eden. Even the authorities who permit the gathering to do so only when the gathering is not in improvement over the first gathering. Very interesting, right? So those who agree that you can gather, they say it should not be improved. So, like in my mind, like what is the improvement? So maybe they were in a basket, as they say, and now I want to put in a box and close the box, the box. So now the rain is not going to ruin my peaches, let's say. Understand? So in this case, it would be improvement. But if I put back in a basket, so maybe they're going to get ruined. Okay, so it would not be allowed. However, if the regathering is more effective than the first gathering, all authorities agree it is forbidden. So if it's so they were in a basket under the tree, and now I want to gather them and put under the roof somewhere. So for sure, it's a big improvement. Right?
What if you put them into a smaller basket? Because if it's in a big basket, still still loose, more scattered. If you take a big.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't matter if it's in a container, it's not considered to be scattered. Period. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a big container, okay, you have a big basket and you have 10 cherries. They're not considered scattered in a big basket.
What about a sandbox? Does that count as a basket or no? As a container?
Sandbox?
Yeah.
No, it's not a container. No. Container is something that you can carry basically from one place to another.
Understood.
Okay, good question. Thus, for example, continue. Thus, for example, the stringing together figs is forbidden according to all authorities, even though the figs were previously gathered outdoors, right, and brought inside. So now like the real gathering with the figs and when you put them together in one string. Okay. Since the stringing together figs gather them together more closely, right? When you buy the figs, like they stuck together like very tightly, right? More closely than before, it is forbidden on Shabbos. For further discussion of this rule, gathering see section 7. Okay, so we're going to get to it. Okay, number 4, methods of gathering. The melacha of me'amer, gathering, is not restricted to the gathering by hand. Any customary methods of gathering, an item is included in melacha me'amer. For example, it is forbidden to gather twigs by pushing them together with one's foot. Okay, because twigs are often gathered this way. So I mean, you don't want to bend down. You don't soil your hands, whatever. So you just do it with your foot. Push these twigs, these branches, right, into one pile. So it would be forbidden. So because it's normal way of doing things. Okay. Likewise, it is forbidden to roll one fruit to another because this is customary way of gathering fruit. So basically, let's say you found some apples under the tree. You're not going to throw them next to the basket, right? Because you're going to damage and it's waste of the fruit. But when you roll, basically most of the time you're not going to damage the fruit if you just roll it, right? So that's a normal way. Gathering in unusual manner is forbidden by rabbinic decree. So I mean, in the practical applications, they're going to show us what is the unusual manner. But so far, all of these things are I think it's included. Okay, maybe if somebody stood on his form, right, on his knees, right, and he pushes this apple with his nose, it would be unusual manner. Okay.
Rabbi, let's say I had, I don't know, 5 flower pots, okay? There's a flower in each and every one of them. If I put them all in a basket, does that count as gathering or no?
Flower pots?
Yeah.
I think that the way I understand, so that they're too big, they're not considered to be scattered. So we're talking about something like smaller objects, I think.
Okay.
No, not smaller, but okay, but the flower pots do not grow from the ground, so they actually attach to the ground. So it's not in this kind of, but even big things. No, go ahead.
I agree with you, but I'm saying the flower itself. I'm saying, do the flowers count as gathered when you put them next to each other if they're all inside of flower pots? You see, the way I understand, right, from what we said before, that it should be first ripped and then gathered together. But these flowers are still attached, so you cannot say you cannot skip a step. Understood.
Yeah. So, okay. Okay. So part number 5: permitted methods of gathering produce. The melacha of me'amer applies only to gathering produce together in a place of growth. Okay. However, it is permitted to bring the fruit or vegetables to the house one by one, even though this will result of being gathered, double quotes, inside the house. So basically, okay. So let's say let's give let's take our example that we had before. So you have apples in the orchard and you put them in the basket. Then you trip the basket. So they scattered around. So you can take the apples. So you want to eat one apple and you want to take for your brother. So you can take 2 apples and bring 2 to the house. So this is not going to be considered, gathering. You understand? So even though you brought to a different place, so it's not that. Therefore, if fruit fell off the tree prior Shabbos, so that it's not muktzah. So as we said, muktzah, not muktzah, so it's not muktzah. One is permitted to pick up each individual fruit and bring. Okay, so I said that 2. I'll take it back. So at least 1 fruit is no problem. But in my mind, was 1 foot in each hand. Okay, so it's so you don't join them together, basically.
Wait, why aren't you allowed to carry two together? Because it's a natural place of growing. That's why.
Yeah. Yes.
I hear. But
Yeah.
your hand is going to count as a vessel.
No, your hand is not a vessel, but your hand is not a vessel, no. And it's not, and the resting place of gathering is not going to be its natural place of growing.
So what's it called? I can carry one apple per hand, correct?
I think so. Here they say only 1 apple. Okay, so let's stick to the stringent opinion and say 1 apple. So you have 2 brothers waiting for you, 3 brothers, 5 sisters. So you can take 1 fruit at a time and bring it to everybody in your house. So it's not going to be gathering, for sure, because we said minimum amount for gathering it's 2. So when I said 2, maybe it's would be a little questionable. By 1, for sure, it's not gathering.
Very simply, I'm still not sure what's it called. Let's say I have 2 apples in one hand. Why is that no good?
No, because I don't know. Let's continue. Let's finish with this example, and then we see what. Try to answer the question. Therefore, if fruit fell prior to Shabbos, so one would have this example, so that it's not muksa, one is permitted to pick up each individual fruit and bring it indoors. I mean, it does not say only 1 at a time. Fruit that fall off a tree on Shabbos, however, is considered muksa. Hence, it may be moved only to pushing it with one's feet. In such an instance, it would be permitted to bring it indoors only by pushing by foot 1 fruit at a time. So this muktzah fruit that fell off on Shabbos, so you can push with the feet. So basically, as we already learned a lot about muktzah. So one of the ways that you're allowed to move. Not all of the muktzah, but many muktzah items. There are, I think, like 4 different categories of the muktzah. So most of them you can move indirectly. So the way you don't usually do it. Like apples, nobody move by feet. So that would be indirect movement. Okay, so continue. Part number 6. Not included in this prohibition. Number 1, no longer it's in natural state. The melacha of me'amer gathering applies only to the items that are in their original form. If the items have been changed, so like our cereal, let's say, right, one is permitted to gather them together. This is one of the reasons why one may gather toys on Shabbos, even if they're made of from wood. Since wood in the toy has been completely changed from what it was when it was removed from the tree, and melach of me'amer gathering is not applied. So only to original items, if it's they were changed like twigs, of course they in original form, right? But here it does not apply.
What's it called? Well, because for example, let's say shackle or whatever. Over there, change is when you can't see that it's a potato anymore. So with regards to making a wooden toy, when is it considered changed?
It changed the form. It used to be a branch, let's say, like thick branch, and now it's looks like I don't know, like a cube.
I hear.
So I mean, unless you look at it closer, so it is already. You feel it, that it is wood, but otherwise it could be metal, could be plastic, could be any other material. You would not know. I mean, it's painted and stuff like that, so it does not resemble the wood. Okay. Continue. Gathering for beauty. Okay, that's a big one. Okay, as stated above, the melacha me'amer applies only if gathering is done to preserve the produce. Gathering produce for any other reason is not included in the melacha. It is permitted to put together some cut flowers because flowers are put together for beauty rather than protect the flowers. Nevertheless, it is forbidden to make the arrangement of flowers due to the malacha make bepatish. Okay, so let's explain what it says here. So basically, if you have a vase, right, with the flowers before showers, so you can move the flowers and around that, there is no problem. But I mean, what is the problem when you do a nice flower composition? So nice flower composition is like an end product. And we learned about, we did not learn yet, but I think I explained before, this melacha of makik bepatish. Makik bepatish, we said that the definition, striking of the last blow of the hammer. So you did whatever you did, your last touch, and now it's a ready product. So when they arrange the flowers, so basically there is no problem to put flowers, for example, from one vase to another. There is no problem, right? I mean, okay. Let's say whatever they look better in this space. Okay, so you can put in that vase. Let's say, right? Let's say it was water before Shabbat. Okay, we're not going to details, but to arrange it beautifully, to make the flower arrangement, that's makik bepatish. You're not allowed. Okay, so continue. Number 7, rabbinically prohibited forms of gathering. The rules we have learned to this point reflect the biblical law. The rabbis, however, provided certain instances of gathering not prohibited by rabbis, however, prohibited certain instances of a gathering not prohibited under biblical law. Okay. Number 1, items found in the ground. The sages forbade gathering items that come from the ground, even though then they do not grow from it. For example, iron, stones, and salt from the mine. So not salt from the sea, but salt from the mine. Since the activity resembled mea, so we needed to put stones together. So stones are muksa, but okay, let's see. Okay. The sages feared that allowing these things to be gathered might lead to gathering items that naturally grow from the ground. So okay, so one more time, this metal, iron, stones, and salt. So I mean, it's only a few examples, right? That found in the ground, even though they do not grow from the ground. Number 2, regarding fruit that becomes scattered. Regarding fruit that become scattered. Okay, so the melach of me'amer, gathering, applies according to many poskim, even to gathering fruit that became scattered after its original gathering, but only if it occurs in a place where the produce grows. Okay, we will now discuss the law of regathering produce away from the place of its growth. So basically, so biblically, even rabbinically, they say that there is a problem to regathering that was scattered in a natural place of growth. An example that we gave, it was in a basket. Somebody tripped the basket, so now it's outside. If you allow to put it together in a basket, back in the basket. So we said there are 2 opinions. Okay, so rabbinically we just say there is a problem only when the in natural place of growth, meaning in the orchard, but not in the kitchen. So if you have these scattered things in the kitchen or in your living room, there is no problem. Like nuts, right? Nuts, let's say, right? Okay, introduction. According to all authorities, regathering produce which became scattered in a place of other than where it grows is not considered mea. Okay, so everybody agrees. So one more time. According to all authorities, regarding produce which became scattered in a place other than where it grows is not considered mea. Okay, so that's clear. So if it's in your kitchen or living room, no problem. Since the produce is not being gathered in a place where it's grown, right? It's one of the 2 conditions. Right? The melacha me'amer does not apply. However, the sages forbade gathering in certain instances, even in the places where the produce did not grow. One of the reasons mentioned by Paskim is the practice of weekly activity. So, okay. So there is a note. So let's read the note, and I'm going to explain about this weekly activity. Weekly activity is a category that includes three types of activities. A, those that resemble a melacha. B, those that might lead to the performance of the melacha. And C, those that involve considerable degree of bother, which when done on Shabbos detracts on holy or on Shabbos. Okay, so I mean it's very deep topic, so I'd like to discuss it now since we just discussed. So many things we don't do on Shabbos, not because it's melacha, but because it resembles weekly activity. Okay, well, for example, it's not allowed to exercise on Shabbos, right? So exercise could be you want to walk. You say, I have such a big meal, I want to walk because, okay, it's nice, okay. So if you walk for exercise, it's not allowed. So if you walk because it's nice outside and you walk as you want to enjoy the weather and fresh air, that's a different, that you're allowed. So, and many different things, for example, as we said before, if you want to move your table, you have a heavy table, like real wood table from one floor to another in your house. So basically there's no melacha involved, but it is forbidden because of the weekday activity, because it's exhaustion, because you're going to get sick. Fine, go ahead.
You said that if you're going for exercise, it's not allowed. Do you have to say that you're going outside to walk because it's a nice day, or you have to think that
Exactly your intention in your mind.
Mm-hmm. So you can't you have to make yourself think that it's a nice day, and then you could go for a walk.
So but walk, you know, when people go for exercise, they walk faster. So on Shabbos, as we said before, it is not allowed to walk fast. Why? Because walking fast is like a resemblance of weekday activity. So during the week, you late here, you late there, you late for the bus, you run. That's what weekday activity. But on Shabbos, you're in a state of mind that everything that I was supposed to do up to Friday, it's done. That's it. It's done 100%. You know, that's your state of mind. So when you're done, so basically you're not in a rush.
What if you walk slowly, but you go for a very long walk? Is that okay?
If you enjoy this walk, if it's not for to lose this calorie and stuff like that, that's no problem. I mean, maybe if you ask me, maybe it's a waste of time. You better start run Torah. So I would go maybe for a walk. If I listen to the lecture of Rabbi Reuven, yeah, I can walk and walk. I don't care. But just walk. I mean, if you have a friend and you're going to discuss Torah while you're walking, that's one issue. One thing. But otherwise, but it's not. One more time, it's not forbidden. If you enjoy this walking and it's not beautiful outside and you need fresh air, there is no problem. Okay. So that's weekly activity. So I'm going to read all these three categories one more time, and we continue. Those that resemble the melacha. So what would be those that resemble the melacha? I don't have any examples right now. Anyway, we're going to come over these examples. Those that might lead to performance of the melacha. Also, I don't know. Those that involve considerable degree of bother. So that's one is. So we actually all of the examples were around this C, right? The great degree of bother were done on Shabbos. The tract of holy or on Shabbos, right? So basically, don't do your homework. One of the things it's one of the first classes that we say don't do your homework on Shabbos, unless it's somebody like HaShem wisdom's related. So what does it mean? Like math. So if you have no other time, you press, you were sick, you was this, you were that, whatever, and the only day you have to learn on Shabbos, so math would be allowed. Other nonsense like history would not be allowed because it's not. Right?
But Rabbi, what's it called? For example, Megillah Esther. That's Megillah Esther history. History is how Hashem controls everything. I could say the same thing about Megillah Esther.
No. Megillah Esther. First of all, as our rabbis say many times, Torah is not a history book. It's not. So, and plus, Megillah Esther is one of the books of Tanakh, one of the 24 books of Tanakh. So, I mean, even the story of tzaddikim, right? The story of tzaddikim, Rabbi Akiva, other great sages, they consider it to be like maybe you better learn Torah, but for inspiration you can read them on Shabbos, but not fiction book, not religious book, not new newspapers, not all of the other nonsenses, basically.
Right.
Understand? Okay, that's the issue. Okay, continue. So we started regathering the fruits because it's scattered. Okay. So we said if it's not in natural place of growth, so they say no problem. Okay, number one, produce that become scattered over the large outdoor area. That's the issue, right? Produce that scattered over the large outdoor area, such as yard or field, may not be gathered on Shabbos. Some poskim state that this is because gathering items scattered over the large area involve considerable degree of bother. So basically you have to go from this apple to apple and you have to like bow like every time, in order to get it. So it would be too much. Okay. Some poskim state that this is because gathering items scattered over the large area involve considered degree of bother. Sorry, okay, we said that. It is forbidden due to the, see above, so we mean in weekday activity. Avdu the whole, right? In weekday activity. Okay, continue. It is permitted, however, to gather few items at the time. So I mean, you came to and you picked up like 2 apples, right? Provided they are needed for Shabbos. So that's the second qualification. So if they gather it over large area, and you need them for Shabbos, you can pick up. Since gathering a few items in a time for Shabbos does not involve much toil and experiment. That's why I said that two apples you can bring, like in 2 different hands. So it's not like you join them together, basically. Maybe that's why I said it. Okay. Number 2, produce that becomes scattered of the small outdoor area. Small outdoor area. So basically, when you just sit down, right? So you can just pick up all of them. There is no problem. So right, small area. One experiment to gather together on Shabbos produce that scatter over a small area in the yard. Gathering fruit from a small area does not involve much bother and therefore is permitted. Check time. We're a little over time, but I need like maybe 5 minutes and we'll finish. Number 3, okay, produce that became scattered indoors. Most poskim rule that the produce that scattered over the large area indoors has the same halakhic status as produce scattered over large area outdoors. That is forbidden to regathering. So basically, you have Skittles or whatever these candies, and they scatter everywhere. That's the problem. I mean, if you take it with your food, that's a different thing. Okay, number 4. Other items that become scattered. Most poskim rule that a rabbinic prohibition to gather produce that became scattered over a large area only applies to items that grow from the ground. Okay, so maybe based on this, no problem with the Skittles. They therefore are ruled that one is permitted to gather toys that are scattered over the large area. See the children in halacha? Okay. So basically, okay, toys, candies, no problem. And the last one section, practical application. String and figs. Okay, we're not going to string figs, but okay, it is biblically forbidden to string figs together, no matter location. If you did it in in orchard, you did it in a home, no problem. Making a bouquet of flowers. Making bouquet of flowers is not prohibited under the law of me'amer, meaning gathering. However, other prohibition may apply, as we said, striking the last blow, making bepatish. And the last one, stringing diamonds. Okay. The malacha of me'amer does not forbid stringing pearls, pearl beads and beads. Okay. However, other prohibition may apply. So, as we said, when they play, there's like a game, right? To make a necklace. So the problem would be to make knots, right? At the end, so they would stick together. Okay. So, believe it or not, we're done. So I'm ready for questions. I just one thing. When we were discussing pretentious relation, behavior, right? Like so that people that don't do it, basically. So I remember next day or the next night, I remember next example that our poskim say, when you do modi, when you bow too low. So basically you have to bow like this. So it says okay, go ahead.
So, but actually today I saw there's a person that hasn't like bedavka completely mamish bowing. I don't know, to maybe his calf. You understand?
Like 90 degrees, right?
No, more, like that. I don't know how to say
but
it.
it's absolutely forbidden. It's clear in Shulchan Aruch. It's forbidden, but even lower than I just did, it's that they call it pretentious. Don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, that's okay. Any questions on any subject? Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So, am I allowed to eat strawberries if I just wash them over the sink or not?
Oh, okay. So let me explain what David is asking, right? So he's asking if you're allowed to eat wet fruits, right, or vegetables, right, or whatever. So and we said before, you must wash your hands, like you do for bread, but you for bread, but without the blessing. That's what you should do. That's it. So you wash them. If you leave them to dry, there is no problem. If they dry completely, there is no problem whatsoever. So or if you wash them and you're going to eat them with a fork, with a spoon, with whatever, with a toothpick, then there is no problem. But the problem only if you're going to eat it with a hand. I give you this example. So I ate corn, right? And corn, you boil corn in the water, right? And that's how we cook the corn. So of course it has moisture. Water is one of the 7 liquids that considered to be halachically liquids. Not everything is considered liquid. So before eating corn, I wash my hands. That's it. You can eat corn.
But my question was actually about insects inside the strawberries, because I heard very
okay. I apologize. So what we do? Okay. So I apologize. I thought that you were talking about, but you got about the hands.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we do? We cut off this green part. So they all only hide in this green like end. That's it.
Oh, that's all. Okay.
Yes.
What about grapes? I have to worry at all about grapes?
No. There's no problems with it. I mean, for example, we grow grapes like outside, right? So with these grapes, there is a problem because they have all of this. The ends, a lot. So you have to wash them very, very good.
What?
But when you buy from the store, there's I never seen any insects. Never.
Even let's say I don't like take the grapes off of the vine. If I just keep it with the what's it called? It's still okay if I just wash it as is.
Yes, but one more time you have to wash your hands.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other fruits that I have to worry about at all? Because I heard from this one rabbi was telling me that his wife never has strawberries pretty much because it's too hard to clean. And like she cooks very well, so it must be very, very a big process. So I don't know where they get it from.
No, just cut this piece. I know. Okay, so I'll tell you what. So even we buy this the salad mix, not the kosher, not the checked one. We buy it from a BJ's. Like, well, and I check. So my wife will wash it with a special veggie wash, and then I check under the magnifying glass. Okay, you put yourself like, and takes me to like 2 minutes to check the whole like bucket. You understand? It's very quick. So it has a lamp. It has like a magnifying glass. It has light. I mean, you see everything basically.
Is it by any chance that the let's say very very Shiva people don't agree with you, or no?
Of course, they might disagree. I mean, people. Yeah.
Okay, understood.
Okay, so you see the thing is that some people they decide to go machmer in one area, so usually it's suggestion of the Satan, right? So they would go machmer about this strawberry, but then speak during repetition of Shmoneh, so there is no problem. You understand? Okay, but people disagree. Of course, people disagree. So we try not to go crazy, but do what halacha requires and not go crazy. All right, go ahead. Israel, go ahead.
Okay, I have the question from before, from the afternoon. Can I start with the last sentence of the
Okay,
statement?
Go ahead.
Okay, I wrote it here. So the quote is, from all the above, it is clear that anyone who has in his ability to influence in any way a Noahide to keep the 7 commandments,
yes,
the obligation rests on him to do so.
Yeah.
So since that was commanded to Moses, our teacher, certainly one who has connections with Noahides in areas of commerce and the like, it is proper for him to sustain the connection in order to convince and explain to that person in a way that will reach that person's heart that God commanded Noahides to keep the 7 commandments. And this is the end quote. This is from the Rebbe of the Babit. So the question is...
It's a general Jewish approach. So basically, let me summarize what Israel said. So if there is a Gentile, right, that you have some relations with, you don't go outside and then try to tell them that that's what you have to do, right? That's based on Torah law. So if you want to do something positive, something useful, go talk to the Jews, not leave these Gentiles alone. So, but if they come to you or you have special relations, like close relations with them, you're obligated to tell them about 7 Noahide laws. That's it. That's what it says. You understand? So, but these people, they sometimes they go overboard and they care about Noahides more than about Jews. You understand? So, but it's not a halacha. Halacha, if a Gentile comes to you and asks you a question, you must help him. You must provide all of the information. You must tell him the truth. It's 100% your obligation. You understand? So sometimes I would mention even if I'm not asked, basically. But
this quote talking about Jews that can influence Noahide, or not righteous Noahide that can influence Noahide?
One second. So yeah, I was talking about the Jews, but Noahides must influence other Noahides, absolutely.
For example, in my case, in an area I have an activity which is sound or music. I am allowed to influence in any way, form the Noahide to fulfill the 7 commandments.
Yes, 100%. Yes, that's your obligation. Yes, if you have close relations with somebody, one more time, you're not obligated to go to the streets and tell them that you are Noahide. That's what you must do.
So this was the question, because I have this. It's not commerce, but it's music. So I find it similar. So I wonder to myself if I have the obligation, because I have relation with several Noahides are capable of turn into righteous Noahide. So that was the question.
Exactly. Yes, 100%. But this article from Lubavitcher Rebbe, he was addressing Jews, not other Noahites. You understand?
Okay.
So there are different obligations. Yeah, go ahead. Or any questions? Anything on your mind? Something bothers you? Okay, that's it. So let me start recording, but do not disconnect, please.